Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back. Thank you for joining us. We are glad that you're here. I'm Steve.
And I'm Scott. And
And
yes,
together
we
we're
are.
Backyard Musings, Science and Technology channel.
Yep. And we appreciate those that subscribe and leave comments. And again, like we said earlier today, if you're going to unsubscribe, which I don't understand, leave us a comment. Let us know why. So see if we can fix whatever we're doing that has got you all twisted up. So,
Okay. Kitchen sponges shed microplastics, but water use drives most environmental harm. Real world and lab data show reducing water consumption has the greatest impact. Kitchen sponges may look harmless, but each scrub can release tiny plastic fragments that slip unnoticed down the drain. These microplastics, now found everywhere from oceans to drinking water, have many sources, and researchers are beginning to realize that everyday household items play a role. Would you like to know more?
okay. A team led by the University of Bonn set out to measure, and I don't know where that is.
Germany.
Germany? Okay.
German.
Set out to measure just how much microplastic comes from sponges and whether it poses a meaningful environmental threat. Their findings reveal a nuanced picture. Sponges do shed plastic, but another factor dominates the overall impact of dishwashing.
Microplastics are now widespread in the environment, showing up in oceans, soil, air, and even food and drinking water. Studies suggest they can be ingested by wildlife and humans, where they may carry harmful chemicals or trigger inflammation in living tissues. Despite growing concern about these potential health and ecological effects, many everyday sources of microplastics remain poorly understood.
The researchers asked households in Germany and North America to use one of three sponge types during their normal dishwashing routines. By weighing each sponge before and after use, the team estimated how much material was lost and how much microplastic was released.
Okay, so wait a second, time out. So the sponge soaks up water. So when it was before, it was dry, and then you put water and you use the sponge to get whatever grit or food off the plate, and then you squeeze to the best of your ability, but not all the water can get out.
Right.
So isn't that kind of slanted?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, how do they know that? And how do they know exactly? Did they weigh the water that you squeezed out? And again, like you said, you can never get the only time you can get all the water out of a sponge is when you just let it sit on the counter and dry. And that takes sometimes days.
Yeah,
So,
evaporation.
I don't know. Maybe a little bit more detail about how this study went. I don't know.
Alongside this, laboratory experiments used a custom device called the SpongeBot, which simulates the physical stress of scrubbing. This combination of real-world data and controlled testing helped produce more reliable results.
Along with that weighing process, because microplastics, and you pick up a plastic bottle that's empty, like a water bottle, a 16-ounce water bottle, it weighs virtually nothing.
Right.
So microplastics are going to weigh even less than that. So, I mean, again, I don't know. It's very interesting. So all the tested sponges lost material over time, releasing microplastics as they wore down. Annual emissions ranged from about 0.68 to 4.21 grams, which is equivalent to 0.02 to 0.15 ounces, which is, again, like I was just saying, that's nothing. It's almost immeasurable per person, depending on the sponge type. Sponges made with less plastic produced fewer particles, so that makes sense. Still, the analysis found that microplastic release was not the main environmental concern. Instead, water use during dishwashing had a far greater impact. Wonder why?
Citizen participation was essential to the study because it captured real household behavior. By observing how people actually wash dishes, researchers obtained more accurate data than lab-only studies typically provide. This approach improved estimates of microplastic released under everyday conditions.
While the amount of microplastics released per person is relatively small, scaling the data to an entire country reveals a larger effect. In Germany, for example, emissions could reach up to 355, is that tons?
Tons, yeah.
Which is about 391 U.S. tons. per year if one sponge type were used nationwide. I don't know how they came up with that. Although wastewater treatment plants capture much of this material, several tons still make their way into water systems or soil each year. Okay.
Even so, the broader environmental assessment shows that water use dominates the impact of dishwashing. About 85 to 97% of the total environmental burden comes from water consumption. Well, how is he going to wash dishes? While microplastics contribute only a minor share to ecosystem damage. So from now on, we've got to use sand to wash our dishes.
Yeah, well, and yeah, exactly. So what is the option here? What are they going to? It's like a toilet. Nobody's been able to come up with a better system than the current toilet that we have. I mean, they've messed with it. They've done some modifications, but
it malfunctioned in space.
Exactly. And so what are they going to do here? Like you say, what are we going to use? We can't consume soap. That would not be good for the digestive system. I don't know. The study highlights several practical ways to reduce environmental impact. Use less water when washing dishes. That's not an option in my family, since this is the greatest effect. Choose sponges with lower plastic content to limit microplastic release, but that's not the main concern, they said. Water is. And then keep using sponges longer, as extending their lifespan reduces overall resource use. I don't know. This, I don't know. This is pretty interesting. Pretty kind of skeptical in this one. So, but, because again, so use your dishwasher, I guess. And I'm not talking about your male or female dishwasher. I'm talking about your
Mechanical
cabinet.
Yeah.
And then, maybe rinse off as much as you can before you put it in the dishwasher, and then it becomes mainly just a secondary wash and sanitation device. So I don't know. Let's take a poll here. Do you rinse off your dishes before you put them in the dishwasher? So do we. And I had my head in your dishwasher the other day. It looked like a brand new dishwasher on the inside. Ours, the same way. There's no smell. Because, when you don't rinse off your dishes, then you got to clean out your filter. And cleaning out your filter in some dishwashers is a pain in the butt.
Well, to be fair, I cleaned out that filter before you got there. And
yeah, but still, if you rinse off the majority of the food before you put it in a dishwasher, it doesn't. The filter is pretty much not even used. So, but anyway, I know there's a lot of back and forth on that. It's like, do you roll your toilet paper towards the wall or away from the wall? As long as my toilet paper rolls off, I'm an away from the wall guy. But as long as my toilet paper rolls off, I don't care. As long as I can get it off. If I can't get it off, we got a problem.
But I will say, if you have cats and you roll it towards the cabinet, it's harder for the cat to. If it's towards you, it's easy for the cat to get that toilet paper and go to town.
Yeah, well, at the sake of losing more subscribers, because there's probably a lot of cat lovers out there, my cat would not do that very often.
You don't have a cat.
I don't have a cat, and that's exactly why I don't have a cat.
All right, folks, thanks for joining us. We'll catch you tomorrow.
Take care, everyone. Thanks.